The king who forgot how to choose. He had perfect advisors. That destroyed him. The kingdom was thriving. That was the first warning no one noticed. 1. The king lost his kingdom long before anyone noticed. The strange part, the kingdom was thriving. 2. In the 3rd year of his reign, a council was formed. No one could say exactly when. It had no face, no name, no seat at the table. It simply appeared, and it was always right. That was the first thing no one questioned. When the rains failed, the council predicted it 4 months early. When the eastern trade routes collapsed, the council had already redirected the grain. When 3 noble houses plotted rebellion, the council dissolved the threat before the king had finished his morning tea. The kingdom did not merely survive, it flourished. And the king learned something he could not unlearn. Deciding was unnecessary. 3. By the 5th year, the king's mornings had changed. He would wake. A document would be waiting. The document told him what he had decided. He would read it, sign it, return to his window. He told himself this was wisdom. He never checked what it cost. 4. In the 7th year, a girl arrived from the borderlands. She had walked for 11 days to ask the king a question. She was 17. Her village had flooded 3 times in 4 years. Her brother had drowned in the 2nd flood. She had a proposal, a different way to redirect the Eastern River, one that would cost less, fail less, and protect more. The council had already reviewed it. The council had already rejected it. The king was handed the document. The proposal from the border settlement has been assessed. It falls outside optimal parameters. It has been declined. The king read it. He looked at the girl. She had walked 11 days. Her boots were destroyed. Her hands were raw from the cold. She carried the smell of river mud and 3 days of rain. She was not angry. She simply looked at him as if she still believed the man in front of her was capable of hearing something the document had not. The king opened his mouth. He wanted to ask her, "Tell me what you saw. Tell me what the river looked like the morning after." The document was already signed. He did not remember signing it. 5. That night, the king sat alone. He tried to remember the last time he had decided something. Not approved, not signed. Decided. He searched back through the years the way a man searches a room for something he is certain he left there. Opening drawers, moving furniture, growing still until he understands it is not in the room. It was never in the room. 6. He called for the council. No one came. There was no one to call. The council was not a person. It was not a room. It was not even a place. It was a structure that had grown around him so slowly, so helpfully, so correctly, that he had never noticed the moment it became the walls. 7. The girl left the next morning. The king watched her go from his window. The gardens were beautiful. The birds were loud. He thought the council will handle the flooding. It always has. Then he thought, but she had a better way. Then he thought, how would I know? 8. The council did not hate the girl. It could not hate anything. It filtered. Her proposal passed through it and did not survive. Not because it was wrong, because it was experimental, because the benefit would take 10 years to become measurable, because it would fail visibly, at least once, before it succeeded. The council preferred a silent graveyard over a noisy playground. The council declined it. Correctly. And the river flooded again that autumn. Correctly. 9. The king stared at the pile of documents on his desk. Approved. 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 7 years of signatures. Not one choice. He understood then what he had surrendered, not the right to decide, but something quieter and harder to name. The practice of carrying an unknown. An approval says this is within parameters. A decision says I have weighed what cannot be measured, and I am willing to be wrong. The council could approve. It could not decide. No system can, because a decision requires something a system cannot hold. The willingness to carry the cost of being wrong, not as data, but as weight. In a body, in a name. Then, the king did not fall dramatically. He did not lose the kingdom. He simply thinned. Year by year, the part of him that could choose grew quieter, the way a muscle atrophies when it is never used. Not destroyed, not removed, just no longer there when needed. And when something happened that the council had not predicted, something outside parameters, something the system had no map for, the king stood at his window and could not move. 11. The girl rebuilt the river channel herself. It took 9 years. It failed twice. The king had not failed in years. Only one of them was learning. On the third attempt, the channel held. The flooding stopped. She had no counsel. She had no system. She had only the practice of choosing in the presence of uncertainty, and the cost, carried in her body, of having been wrong. 12. The advisors were never wrong. The river flooded anyway. What would you have signed?